we are. This came more out of a request. And the request, someone had said, hey, um, I'm looking for something on notes and I don't want to pay for it. We're not even going to talk about that one. But I decided to do something on notes. And I realized the logos tutorials have really garnered a shift. It you used to be the MP seminars used to do it, and now that you have a whole bunch of people who's doing it, and some at varying degrees. I think they use low logos, and they may not be as informed as you think that they should. But that's kind of what you get with the community. Anytime you have a community, that you're going to have people of varying degrees. So as always, I start with a blank screen because I want you to know how we're doing this. So the first thing that I want to talk about is how do you access it? So I can either access it here from the tool. So when I come into notes, I click on notes and my notes come up. That's one way. Normally this is the way, and I had let me change this back to its default. So you go into tools and you go in notes, and then you can create a new note up. And normally how I would use this, if I was going to use this, I would click on, so I would have a Bible here, and I would have my note file in this section. And I normally use notes whenever I'm doing Bible study, an inductive Bible study, so that I can put down all my observations, questions I have, words repeated, so I have them in a single file. That's one way. The other way to access is through the documents. So you have all these types, and you would click on notebook, and then you go down. What's very important, when I click on new, it doesn't have an option to create a note or a notebook. You have to do that through the tool search, and then you have this new note here. Which gets me to my next question. Well, the next thing that you're going to encounter, there's notebooks and then there's notes. Think of a notebook. So when I go into documents, it only lists my notebooks. These are the only ones that are going to be listed over here. Notebooks are collection of notes that you have. Normally it's going to be around a specific topic. Like I have this one here, basic Bible, and the notebook is this one right here. The notebook was actually created when I did the workflow. So I did a workflow of Luke 1:1-4 a couple months ago. When you go into the workflow, and it creates all your notes in a single notebook. Now, once again, a notebook is a collection of notes, normally around a specific topic. So when you go into a workflow and all your notes, so let's just go in here. So I have my workflows, and it was a basic Bible study. And when I click in Luke 1:1-4, and when I search, I have these notes. It takes each individual note and puts it in a notebook so that you can access all your notes that you had put down in your workflow. So really there's two options here of how to access your comments that you make in the workflow. I can either go to the workflow, or I can go to the notebook of basic Bible study, Luke 1, 1 to 4. So what it's going to do, so when the workflows create, when you do a basic Bible study, the first thing here is going to be the basic Bible study, and then whatever passage that you are going over. I didn't even know I was going to talk about that. But once again, a notebook is a collection of notes. So there are two ways that you can create notes, either with a notebook or either with a notebook or without. And I'll be honest, after going through this, I even found myself being able to use the notes feature far better. So if I wanted to do a note, so say I wanted to create notes under a specific notebook. So let's say there's our filter here. So I'm just going to click on here. I want this new note. So I just created a note without any notebook. So here are all my notes. And say I wanted to go in. So when I create it, it doesn't attach it to a notebook. But at any point, I could add this to a specific notebook. So here, all I have is the note, and it's not associated with any quote unquote notebook. Now there may be, like for me, where all I do is do my observations and I don't have tiered. But as I'm seeing that there's a better way where even I can do my inductive Bible study by creating a notebook. So here are all my notes and they are all, some of them are associated with a notebook, but so many of them are. So when I go into my documents and I go into my type, documents which list all my types. Say I want to go into Matthew. So what you're going to see here, let's go into that's compact, that's default. So when I come here, it's the same thing. So when I click here, and I'm going to come here. Here are all my notebooks. So if I wanted to create, so here, and you're going to see a really a different view. So if I wanted to create, say for instance, I got this basic Bible study, and let's see if I'll search it. Yeah. So I have this basic Bible study. If I wanted to add something, I just click on the note, and now that it populates here. So say I want to get rid of that, and that's here. Now, the way that this is set up is it's by I can list them by notebook, so I can have the option to be able to view this as a notebook in alphabetical order, date created, date modified. Normally, I'm gonna either do notebook or probably date modified or even date created, which is going to give you a slightly different view. Now I'm going to remove my filter here, and these are all notebooks. So that's the thing that you have to understand. There's a difference between notes and notebooks. Once again, notebooks are a collection of notes that you're going to use under a similar topic. Notes are just your comments that you make. And any, so say for instance, I were to create a new note, and I'm just gonna create a note, and this one, it just created, and it's not associated with any notebook. If I want to say I wanted to put it into here, this is now whatever I write here is now going to be associated with this book, with this notebook. So when you're creating notes, let's go on to there about when we start to create notes. So let's go in, and we're just going to make this there. This is very much like a Word document. You can change the type of font that you use. So say I normally start like when I do inductive Bible study, I'll just say, hey, I'll do observations, questions. So let's just say I don't, I'm not going to associate, but I want this. So say for instance, I'm going to come here and I have this note here, but I'm going to create a notebook and we're going to call this YouTube video. So here I now have this YouTube video, and right now it's in I want this to be viewed. So let's come over here. We got our notebook. So right now this is the way that it is formatted. So let's kind of help you here. So what you see in this area is notes based on note modified. So if I were, but it's always going to list your stuff. Really, here, so when I go into a YouTube and it's going to do my observation, one thing I may start doing. So I have these notes, and I'm gonna have a note called observation. So when I go into my YouTube, and I'm gonna have a new note called questions. Boom. So that's going to populate there. Now, say I want to, I'm gonna come here, and I'm gonna have a new note. And this one I'm gonna have as observation. There may be a need to, yeah. So there may be a need, for example, to have these in one note, or there may be a need to really to share them, or to have a individual notes, which now moves me to the ability. So I can take this and I can share it. I can share whatever notes that I create with anybody. Now there's a way where that I'll show later on how to do this. I can share it either to a group on Faith Life, or I can make it a note, a public. So if I may make this note public, that means everybody can view it. And normally what's going to happen, that there's a place where you would go to share all your notes. As long as they got access to it, they can view your notes. The only and even in there that you have the ability of to what kind of user. So do you want them to be able to what could we call it root privileges? Do we which allows them to create and edit all notes? Do you want them to view it, only view it? So these are the various things that are part of this notes. And I didn't talk about this before, but notes, I mean, what you're going to run into with logos is there are, so these are old, like I think version 4 or 5 is when they first came out. And in the beginning, that all you had was a basic like notes, and then they added the notebook, and then they added the tagging, which I didn't even talk about the tagging. The tagging that you can tag every note. And so you often run into logos where that you got these things that are almost redundant, meaning why do I need to tag? And why would I need to tag a notebook if it's already categorized? Because a lot of these things were developed, like tags came along first, and then you get the notebook features. So some of these things may be redundant. Or here's another idea. I may have a notebook, but there are plenty of other topics in that notebook. So for instance, I could be doing a Bible study on Romans. And although Romans is the overarching, that there's some subtopics that I may want to refer back to, or that there may be some books that I may want to refer back to, and by tagging it, it allows us to be able to search those things into our search functions. There's a whole lot more that I could talk about notes, but I hope this was very helpful for you for understanding notes and how they work.